Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to tell you a secret that can change the way you learn English forever. Imagine learning new words without memorizing long lists. Imagine improving your grammar without opening a grammar book. Imagine speaking English more naturally without stopping to think about every rule. Sounds impossible? It's not. The answer is simple: reading. Reading is like having a teacher, a dictionary, and a speaking partner all in one place. It gives you real examples of how English works. In this video, I'm going to show you how reading can help you understand English better, remember words more easily, and speak with confidence, even if you're starting today. Stay with me until the end, because I'll give you small, simple steps you can start using right now to make reading part of your life, and your English will grow faster than you ever thought possible. Chapter 1: Why Reading is the Secret to Learning English. Many English learners think the fastest way to learn is to listen and speak as much as possible. And yes, speaking and listening are important. They help you hear how words sound, and they help you practice talking. But here's the truth: if you only listen and speak, you might miss something very important. That something is the full picture of how English works. When you listen, sometimes you don't catch every word. People speak quickly, they use slang, and they join words together. When you speak, you often use the same simple phrases again and again because you're not sure how to use other words. But when you read, you see English in slow motion. You can stop and look at each word. You can notice how a sentence is built. You can see grammar rules in action without studying a boring grammar table. Reading gives you the clear, written map of English. Reading shows you real English in action. Think about this sentence: the little boy was thrilled to see the puppy. Maybe you don't know the word thrilled, but when you read the whole sentence, you can guess. A little boy sees a puppy. Is he sad? No. Is he happy? Yes. Is he very, very happy? Yes. That's thrilled. You just learned a new word without using a dictionary. This is why reading is powerful. It gives you a story around the words. And your brain loves stories. Your brain remembers them better than random lists of words. Reading versus only listening/speaking. When you listen, you might hear, the boy was thrilled to see the puppy. If you don't know thrilled, the sound is gone in 1 second. You can't pause a conversation in real life and say, "Excuse me, can you repeat that slowly?" Well, you can, but it might be awkward. When you speak, you're busy thinking of what to say. You don't have time to notice new words or sentence patterns. You just use the safe, simple words you already know. But when you read, you have time. You can stop, think, guess, and learn. You can read the sentence again. You can even underline thrilled and look it up later. Reading gives you control over the speed of your learning. The first spike moment: you already know more English than you think. Here's something amazing. If you are watching this video right now, you already understand a lot of English. You can read subtitles. You can understand most of my words. That means you already have a base. Let's prove it. Look at this short paragraph. Maria walked into the small shop. The air smelled of fresh bread. She smiled and picked up a warm loaf. Even if you didn't know loaf, you can guess it means a piece of bread. You didn't need me to explain. You understood the meaning from the story. This is the magic of reading. It makes your brain connect the dots. You don't need to know every word to understand the message. And every time your brain does this, your English becomes stronger. Why reading works for grammar without boring grammar books. Many learners struggle with grammar. The rules feel hard to remember. But when you read, You see grammar used in real life. You don't just study present perfect. You see it in action. I have lived here for 5 years. She has just finished her homework. When you see patterns like this again and again in reading, they start to feel natural. You don't have to stop and think about the rule. Your brain just knows it. You don't need to read for hours. Some people think, if I read, I need to read for 1 or 2 hours every day. That's not true. Even 10 minutes of reading each day can change your English. Think about exercise. If you walk for 10 minutes every day, after a month you will feel healthier. Reading is exercise for your English brain. 10 minutes every day will make your English stronger and faster. You can read a page in the morning before breakfast. You can read while you wait for a bus. You can read before you sleep. Small moments add up. Reading can be fun. Reading doesn't have to mean old, heavy books. You can read comics, short stories, simple news, or even subtitles in English while watching a movie. The important thing is this: you should enjoy it. When you enjoy reading, you don't feel like you're studying. You feel like you're exploring. And that's when learning becomes easy. Final thought for this chapter. Reading is like having a slow, patient teacher who is always ready to explain, always giving you examples, and never getting tired. It helps you learn new words, understand grammar, and feel more confident when you speak. And remember this: you already know more English than you think. Reading will help you see it, feel it, and grow it every single day. In the next chapter, we will look at something even more exciting: how reading can train your brain to think in English, so you don't need to translate from your language at all. Chapter 2. How reading helps you think in English. One of the biggest challenges for English learners is thinking in English. Many people listen, understand, and even speak, but inside their head, something slows them down. They hear English, quickly translate it into their language, decide what to say, then translate it back into English before speaking. It's like trying to run a race while carrying a heavy backpack. You can move forward, but it's slow and tiring. Why thinking in English feels hard at first? If you learned English mostly in school, you were probably taught word-by-word translation. You saw a sentence in English, and you looked for the meaning in your language. Example: I'm looking forward to the weekend. If you try to translate word by word, it might sound strange in your language. You might stop and think, what does looking forward mean? Why is there to after it? That extra thinking time slows down your brain. And in a real conversation, you don't have that time. How reading trains your brain to process English directly. When you read often, your brain starts to notice patterns in English. It doesn't just see separate words, it sees chunks or phrases. Think about this sentence. It's up to you. If you saw this for the first time, you might translate each word and feel confused. But if you read it many times in different stories, we can eat out or cook at home. It's up to you. You can choose the color. It's up to you. Your brain learns it as one unit. You don't translate. You just know it means you decide. Before and after. Slow thinking versus fast thinking. Let's compare. Before reading habit, slow thinking, you see, she was in charge of the event. Your brain, she was in control, responsible. What does in charge of mean? You pause. After reading habit, fast thinking. You've seen in charge of in many books. You instantly know it means responsible for. No pause. No translation. You can even use it in your own sentence without thinking. I'm in charge of the project at work. This is what happens when you read regularly. Sentences you see again and again stop feeling like puzzles. They start feeling like natural thoughts. Second spike moment. You already have phrases in your head. Here's the fun part. If you've read anything in English, a story, an article, even subtitles, you probably already have some English phrases sitting quietly in your memory. Think about it. Have you ever said something like, "I don't think so"? "What's going on?" "I can't wait." These are phrases you didn't learn from a grammar rule. You picked them up naturally, maybe from a book, maybe from a TV show. And now you use them without translating. That's proof that your brain can think in English. Reading just gives you more and more of these ready-to-use phrases. Why stories work best? Reading stories is especially powerful because you see phrases used in different situations. Let's take all of a sudden. You might read, all of a sudden, the lights went out. All of a sudden, she started laughing. You don't translate all of a sudden every time. You just feel it means suddenly because you've seen it in action. This is how kids learn their first language. They hear and see the same phrases many times in different moments. Reading gives you the same experience in English. How to use reading to train thinking in English? Here's a simple method. 1. Notice phrases, not just words. When you read, underline or highlight short groups of words that repeat in different places, like at the same time or I guess so. 2. Read them aloud. After you finish reading, say those phrases out loud a few times. Don't worry about perfect pronunciation. Focus on making them feel natural in your mouth. 3. See them, say them, use them. The more you see and say these phrases, the easier it is to use them in your own speaking without translation. Example exercise you read. I couldn't believe my eyes. Say it out loud. I couldn't believe my eyes. I couldn't believe my eyes. Now imagine using it in your life. You see a beautiful view. I couldn't believe my eyes. You see a surprising price in a store. I couldn't believe my eyes. Every time you practice like this, your brain is building English pathways so you can speak without stopping to translate. You don't have to memorize everything. Some learners get worried. But I can't remember every phrase I read. That's okay. You don't have to. Just like hearing a song many times makes it stick in your head. Reading phrases many times makes them stick naturally. You might forget a phrase today, but when you see it again next week, your brain will say, "Oh yes, I know this one." Each time, it becomes more familiar until it's yours forever. Final thought for this chapter. Thinking in English is not about studying harder. It's about giving your brain more chances to see and hear English in real life. Reading is the perfect way to do this. When you read every day, even for just 10 minutes, you give your brain hundreds of examples of how English works, how sentences flow, and how phrases feel. Slowly, you stop translating and start speaking faster, smoother, and more confidently. In the next chapter, we'll explore exactly what to read, from easy texts to more challenging ones, so you can grow step by step without feeling lost. Chapter 3. Choosing the right books and materials. If you want reading to help your English grow faster, you have to choose the right materials. Reading something too difficult is like trying to swim in deep water when you're still learning. It's exhausting, and you might give up. Reading something too easy can feel boring, and you won't learn much. The key is to find that just right zone, not too hard, not too easy, so your brain stays happy in learning. The 80% rule. Here's a simple way to know if a book or article is right for you. The 80% rule. When you read a page, you should understand about 80% of the words without looking at a dictionary. That means you know most of the words and can follow the story. You meet some new words, but not too many. If you understand 100%, it's probably too easy, good for practice, but not much new learning. If you understand less than 60%, it's too hard right now. Save it for later. Why this rule works. When you understand most of what you read, your brain feels comfortable. That comfort gives you the energy to notice and remember the new words and phrases. If you understand too little, you spend all your energy just trying to guess the meaning, and you can't enjoy the story. What beginners can read here are some great beginner-friendly options. 1. Graded readers. Graded readers are books written for learners at different levels. They use simpler grammar and vocabulary, but they still tell real, interesting stories. Examples: Penguin Readers, classic and modern stories adapted for all levels. Oxford Bookworms, a huge selection, from true stories to mysteries. You can start at level 1 or 2 and move up as your English grows. 2. Children's books. Don't be shy about reading books for children. Many are full of rich vocabulary and are perfect for learning. Start with books for older children, ages 8 to 12, because they have simple language but still tell engaging stories. Examples: The Little Prince, adapted version, a short, beautiful story with easy language. Magic Treehouse series, fun adventures with clear, simple sentences. 3. Short news stories. News can be difficult in normal English, but some websites make easy English news. Examples: BBC Learning English, News Review and Lingo Hack News and Levels. Same story at 3 difficulty levels. You can learn real-world vocabulary and still understand the main ideas. 4. Easy comics and graphic novels. Pictures help you understand the meaning, even if you don't know every word. Examples: Peanuts, Snoopy, and Charlie Brown. Short, funny strips. Garfield, humor with simple sentences. Tint in simplified editions. Adventures with plenty of visual clues. How to test a book before you start. Before you buy or borrow a book. 1. Open it to a random page. 2. Read one full page without stopping. 3. Ask yourself, did I understand the main idea? Did I only meet a few new words? If the answer is yes, great, that's your book. If the answer is no, put it back for later. 3rd spike moment. Imagine enjoying a book in English. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine this. You're sitting with a cup of tea or coffee, holding a book you actually like. Maybe it's a mystery, maybe it's a love story, maybe it's about space adventures. You're turning the pages, smiling, because you understand what's happening. You meet a new word, but you figure it out from the story. You feel proud because you're reading in English, and it's not homework. That feeling is 100 times better than reading a boring textbook. This is why choosing the right material matters so much. When you enjoy the story, you forget you're studying, but your English keeps growing. Small steps to start. Here's how to begin without feeling overwhelmed. 1. Pick one short book or article. Don't start with a 400-page novel. Choose something you can finish in days, not months. 2. Read for time, not pages. Try reading 10 to 15 minutes a day. No pressure to finish. 3. Don't stop for every word. Guess from context and only check important words later. 4. Repeat a favorite. Reading the same book twice helps you notice new details you missed before. Example: reading a short news story. Let's say you choose a BBC Learning English story. A group of volunteers cleaned up the beach last weekend. If you don't know volunteers, the picture and the sentence help you guess. People who help without being paid. You've learned a new word naturally, without a list or flashcard. Final encouragement for this chapter. Choosing the right reading material is not just about learning faster. It's about making English part of your life in a way you enjoy. When you enjoy what you read, you want to keep going. And every page you turn is another step toward thinking, speaking, and feeling more confident in English. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to actually read so you learn more from each page, without making it feel like a school exercise. Chapter 4. Building the Habit, even if you're busy. One of the biggest problems people face when learning English is finding the time. We're all busy. Jobs, family, studies, daily tasks. You might think, I don't have an extra hour to read every day. Here's the truth. You don't need an extra hour. You don't even need an extra 30 minutes. You can make reading part of your life without adding any extra time at all. Reading without making time. The secret is simple. Connect reading to things you already do every day. Think about it. Do you drink tea or coffee in the morning? Do you sit on a bus or train? Do you scroll on your phone before bed? If you replace just part of those moments with reading, you'll be surprised how much you read in a week. The 10-minute goal. Forget, I have to read for an hour. That's too big and stressful. Instead, set a 10-minute reading goal. Why 10 minutes works? It's small enough that you can do it even on busy days. It's short enough to avoid tiredness or boredom. Over time, 10 minutes every day adds up to hours of reading each month. Here's a little math. 10 minutes times 30 days equals 300 minutes equals 5 hours of reading a month. In 5 hours, you can finish a short book or several short stories. Linking reading to routines, step by step. Let's make it super practical. Here's how to attach reading to something you already do. Step 1. Pick a routine you never miss. Choose something you do every day. Breakfast, commuting, waiting in line, brushing teeth. Well, maybe not during brushing grinning face with smiling eyes. Step 2. Prepare your reading in advance. If you have to search for your book each time, you'll skip it. Keep it ready. On your bedside table, in your bag, or on your phone. Step 3. Replace a few minutes with reading. If you spend 15 minutes scrolling social media before bed, switch 10 of those minutes to reading. Step 4. Make it enjoyable. Choose something you like. If you don't enjoy the book, you won't look forward to the habit. Step 5. Celebrate the small wins. Finishing a page or a chapter is a win. Notice your progress and feel proud of it. Example, morning reading habit. Imagine this. You make your morning tea or coffee. While it cools, you open your graded reader. You read 1 or 2 pages before taking the first sip. That's it. You haven't made time. You've simply used time that was already there. Example, commute reading habit. If you travel to work or school, keep an ebook on your phone or a small paperback in your bag. Instead of checking news or social media, read for just 10 minutes of the trip. If you travel 5 days a week, that's almost an extra hour of English reading every week, without changing your schedule. Example, bedtime reading habit. At night, put your phone on the other side of the room to avoid just 5 more minutes of scrolling. Keep your book on your pillow. Read for 10 minutes before turning off the light. It helps you relax and makes English a calm, pleasant part of your day. 4th spike moment, 1-day challenge. Here's your quick challenge. Today, read just 1 page in English. That's it. Not a chapter, not 10 pages, just 1 page. Then come back and tell me in the comments, what did you read? Was there a new word you understood from the story? This small action is powerful because it breaks the "I'm too busy" excuse. If you can read one page today, you can read one page tomorrow. And soon, you'll be reading without even thinking about it. Why small habits beat big goals? Most people fail because they set big, heavy goals. I will read for 1 hour every night. After a few days, they miss one night, feel bad, and stop. Small habits work because they're easy to start. They don't feel like a chore. They grow naturally over time. Reading 10 minutes a day for 6 months will do more for your English than reading for 1 hour only once a week. Keep the habit alive. Here are a few ways to make sure your habit stays. Track your days. Mark a calendar each time you read. Seeing the chain grow will motivate you. Use the same time every day. Habits stick better with a fixed time. Mix it up. Read different things. A book, a short story, an article, even song lyrics. Variety keeps it fun. Final encouragement for this chapter. Reading every day isn't about having more time. It's about using the time you already have. When you link reading to your daily life, it becomes as natural as drinking tea or brushing your teeth. Even if you're busy, even if you travel, even if you have 100 things to do, you can still grow your English with just a few minutes of reading each day. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to learn from reading without making it feel like studying, so you enjoy the process and remember more. Chapter 5. Understanding even when you don't know every word. One of the biggest fears for English learners is this: what if I don't understand a word? The truth is, you don't need to know every word to understand the meaning of what you're reading. In fact, even native speakers don't know every word they see. The difference is they've trained their brain to guess from context, the words and sentences around the unknown word. Today, I'll show you how to do the same. Why guessing from context is powerful. When you stop reading every time you see a new word, your reading becomes slow and you lose the story. But if you keep going and use clues, you'll understand the main idea faster. Remember new words more naturally. Enjoy reading without getting frustrated. A real example, let's say you read this sentence. The little boy was thrilled when he saw the ice cream truck. Maybe you don't know the word thrilled. Instead of running to the dictionary, stop and look for clues. The little boy, we know the subject. When he saw the ice cream truck, usually, kids feel happy or excited when they see ice cream. So thrilled probably means very happy or excited. You guessed the meaning without a dictionary, and you'll remember it better because you figured it out yourself. Step by step, how to guess a word's meaning. 1. Look at the sentence. Read the whole sentence, not just the word. 2. Find clues. Are there words that show feelings, actions, or results? 3. Think about the situation. What is happening in the sentence? 4. Make a guess. Choose a meaning that makes sense in the story. 5. Keep reading. See if your guess works in the next sentence. The danger of overusing a dictionary. Dictionaries are useful, but if you check every single word, you'll break the flow of reading. Forget the word quickly because you didn't connect it to a real situation. Start depending on the dictionary instead of your brain. My advice: guess first. Only check the dictionary if the word is important to the story or keeps appearing many times. Another example sentence. After walking for hours in the hot sun, she felt parched and searched for a glass of water. Clues. After walking for hours in the hot sun, she's probably tired and thirsty. Search for a glass of water, she needs to drink. So parched probably means very thirsty. Again, no dictionary needed. 5th spike moment. Let's play. I'll give you a sentence with one hard word. Don't check the dictionary. Just guess. Sentence. When the lights suddenly went out, the children huddled together in the corner. Pause for 10 seconds and think. What does huddled mean? Got your guess? Let's check. When the lights suddenly went out, it's dark, maybe scary. The children, together in the corner, they moved close to each other. Huddled means moved close together, usually for warmth or safety. If you guessed something similar, congratulations. You just learned a new word from context. How this changes your English. When you train yourself to guess meanings, you read faster. You understand more. You feel more confident because you're not stuck every time you see a new word. Even if your guess is not 100% correct, it's okay. Over time, reading more examples will make the meaning clearer. Practice idea. Context guessing game. Here's a fun exercise you can do with any book or article. 1. Read a paragraph. 2. Circle one new word. 3. Write your guess about its meaning based on the context. 4. Later, check a dictionary to confirm. If you keep a notebook of your guesses, you'll see how your skill improves. Encouragement for beginners. At first, guessing might feel strange. You might think, but what if I'm wrong? Don't worry, this is not a school exam. Reading is for learning, and learning comes from trying, not from being perfect. Remember, even native speakers guess when they read about a new topic. If you can understand 80% of the text, your brain can often fill in the missing 20%, especially when you have practice. Final words for this chapter. Understanding every single word is not the goal. The goal is to understand the story, the message, the main idea. Guessing from context is like a superpower. It lets you keep moving forward, enjoy reading, and learn faster. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to remember new words from reading without studying them in the traditional way, so they stay in your brain naturally. Chapter 6. Using reading to improve speaking and writing. Many people think reading only helps you understand English. But that's not the whole story. Reading also makes your speaking and writing sound more natural, just like a native speaker. How? By showing you real English in action. How reading dialogue improves conversation skills. When you read books, stories, or even comics, you often see dialogue, conversations between characters. Example. Hey, are you coming to the party tonight? I'm not sure. I might have to work late. This is exactly how people speak in real life. Reading conversations like this is like secretly listening to real people talk, but in a way you can take your time, read slowly, and understand. When you read a lot of dialogue, your brain learns how questions are asked, how answers are given, which words are common in everyday speech. Learning sentence patterns without studying grammar. Many learners say, I want to speak smoothly, but I don't know the grammar rules. Here's the good news. Reading gives you ready-made sentence structures you can use without having to think about the rule behind them. Example from a story. I've been waiting for you all morning. You don't have to know the name of the tense, present perfect continuous. If you see and hear this kind of sentence often in books, it will feel natural to say, I've been studying English for 2 years. I've been looking for my keys all day. You learn the pattern by seeing it many times. The power of upgrading your vocabulary naturally. Sometimes reading shows you better or more natural ways to say things. Example, basic, I'm very tired. From a book, I'm exhausted. Which one sounds more powerful? The second one feels more expressive, and it's exactly what native speakers say. Another example, basic, it's very cold. From a book, it's freezing. By reading, you discover these upgrade words and can use them in your own speaking and writing. Why reading makes speaking smoother. When you speak, you don't have time to translate every word from your language into English. But if you've read hundreds of sentences in English, your brain already has them stored, so you can pull them out quickly. Think of it like cooking. If you've seen a recipe many times, you don't need to look at the instructions every time. You just know it. Using reading to improve writing. Reading not only improves your speaking, it also improves your writing style. When you read well-written sentences, you learn how to connect ideas smoothly. Use transition words like however, in fact, meanwhile. Create sentences that sound natural, not like a direct translation. Example from a book. The rain had stopped, but the streets were still wet. This simple sentence teaches you how to connect two ideas with but, and you can use that in your own writing. I was tired, but I kept studying. The sixth spike moment. Copy the style. Let's try a quick, powerful exercise. I call it copy the style. It's simple and it works. 1. Find a sentence you like in a book. 2. Change a few words to make it your own. Example sentence from a book. She opened the window and let the cool breeze in. Your turn. Change the subject, the object, or the action. He opened the door and let the warm sunlight in. Do it again. I opened my laptop and started my homework. See, you just practice speaking and writing with correct grammar without memorizing a rule. How to make this a daily habit. While reading, underline or highlight one sentence you like. Say it aloud once or twice. Change it to fit your life. Write it in a notebook if you want to remember it. In just 1 week, you can collect 7 natural sentences and use them in your own speaking and writing. The secret of language echo. When you copy sentences from books and make them your own, something magical happens. You start to hear correct English in your head. You echo the style and rhythm of real English. You sound more natural without even trying. Encouragement for this chapter. Don't think of reading as just reading. Think of it as filling your brain with ready-made English that you can use in speaking and writing. Every dialogue you read, every sentence you copy, is like putting another tool in your English toolbox. The more tools you have, the easier it is to express yourself clearly and naturally. Final words for this chapter. If you read regularly, you won't just understand English better, you'll use it better. Your speaking will flow more smoothly, your writing will feel more natural, and your vocabulary will be richer. In the next chapter, we'll talk about how to track your progress so you can see your English improving week by week and keep your motivation high. Chapter 7. Mixing reading with listening for double learning. If reading alone is powerful, imagine what happens when you combine reading and listening at the same time. This is one of the fastest ways to improve your English, and it's something you can start today, even if you've never tried it before. Why combine reading and listening? When you read English, your eyes learn how words look. When you listen to English, your ears learn how words sound. When you do both together, read and listen at the same time, your brain connects the sound and the spelling instantly. This means you remember words longer. You learn correct pronunciation without guessing. You understand faster because your brain has 2 ways to recognize a word.